guys, so I'm back with a new video and let's talk about people we meet on vacation. So I don't know if you remember, but People We Meet on Vacation was on my most anticipated for 2025. Unfortunately, it didn't come out last year, but it just came out and again, it's not on my most anticipated for this year because I haven't prepared that yet and the film just came out. I don't know if it's the right timing, honestly, because the book is about like vacation and summer vacations, and the movie is coming out during the winter in January. I don't know how I feel about that, but and that's kind of a spoiler for my review, I guess. I'm happy that this is how I'm starting the year. So, yeah, I guess it was pretty obvious that I had to review this film. And just a little note, I read the whole book in like 3 days so I could like prepare for the film. It was really like a last minute decision, honestly. I wanted to read the book, but then just a lot of things were happening and I just really thought I won't be able to read it in time for the film. But like 3 days before the film came out, I decided I'm gonna do it. I think I can do it. And I did it. I finished it last night. And like 5 minutes after I finished it, I watched the film. So yeah, everything is really, really fresh in my mind. So let's get to my review. Needless to say that I am obviously gonna be like comparing the film to the book. I'm gonna try and not get into any spoilers. I'm gonna compare the two, but hopefully without spoilers. And if you want me to like get into specifics, just let me know in the comments and I might do like a second video like really getting into the spoilers. But for this video I'm gonna try and keep it as vague as possible, but still like telling you if they kept things similar or not. And so if you don't know what People We Meet on Vacation is about, it's about these two friends that are very different, but they decide to go on vacation every year, and like they like each other more than they realize. Obviously, one of the things that made me really excited about the film was Tom Blythe. I don't think I need to mention that I just love him. I became a really big fan because of The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Last year I reviewed Plainclothes, which I loved and is on my top 10 of the year. And I don't know, like it's really soon, but I predict this one will be in my top 10 of 2026. I don't know if it's just something like in the moment, but I guess like I've mentioned, like the film stars Tom Blythe obviously, and it stars Emily Bader, and I'm just eager to talk about it. So let's get to my thoughts. So as I said, I read the book in 3 days, and I would say this is such an easy book to read. I know this is not a book a review, but if you've watched the film and you didn't read the book, I would say yeah, go for it. It's a really easy read. As I said, I read it in 3 days and I was pushing it because I really wanted to read everything before the film, before watching the film, before the film came out. But I think it's yeah, you can totally like read it in 4 or 5 days, like, because it's really addicting and you really want to know like their story and how things are going to evolve. And I loved the film. As I said, I predict this will be in my top 10 of the year. But I also know this is like a thing of the moment. Like I just read the book, I got really attached to the characters, and seeing like actors that I love portrayed these characters that I loved. Like it was something else. However, there are things that they didn't like do exactly in the film. So the film doesn't follow exactly what happens in the book. So they changed quite a few things, but I'm not super mad at that because the essence of the book is still in the film and all the major events still happen in the film. Something that I was really afraid they would change was the chapters. So the book is divided by like it goes back and forth in the timeline, so it goes between the present and all the other summers that they went on vacation. So it goes like 8 years ago and 7 years ago, and like it goes through all their trips, and I just couldn't really see this in a linear timeline, and I'm happy that the film kept the back and forth between like summers. So I love that. Obviously, I loved the characters and the actors. I love Tom Blythe, but part of me sees too much of him in Alex. Alex is way more like reserved, and he's way more of an introvert, while I don't think Tom Blythe is. And I guess there's a lot of himself, of Tom Blythe, in the character. While Poppy, I loved Emily Bader as Poppy. Like, she was Poppy and she was so good. I also like, it's kind of unfair because you can't keep everything that's in the book, obviously. And I didn't like they didn't go through everything, and that's my main complaint with the film, is that everything just felt really quick. Like there's a lot of build up, and you just get a better understanding of their dynamic in the book, which is obvious. Like there's a lot more in here, and they had to like not only cut things but like mix. There's certain things that happen in certain trips that they mix with another trip, but like with saying that, they also like tackle a lot of their trips. They have at least like 4 of their trips, while in the book I think there's like 8 maybe. So there's a good amount, and all the like important things that happen in the trips that they don't really like show in the film, they happen in another trip. Like they mix the events of the trips in just one. I don't know if I'm making sense, but like if there's 2 events that happen in 2 different trips, they put them together. I guess that makes more sense. And I'm not really mad at that because it makes sense. Like they have to cut certain things, and the fact that they were able to have the important moments still in the film, even though it's not like the right trip. It's, yeah, I still like that. I appreciate that. Still, like, I felt kind of rushed, but like the part of me that like understands that you just can't, it's really hard to adapt like a book into a 2-hour film. I'm also like really happy that it's a 2-hour film because there's so much in here, and I think the film could have gone to 2 hours and 30 minutes because I just needed a bit more of their dynamic in order to understand like all the build up. But still, like at the end of the day, I loved the film. Like there's not a lot that I didn't like. It's just me as someone that read the book like just minutes before watching the film. Obviously I'm a lot more like it's way more probable that I'm criticizing things that people who read the book like a year ago or months ago, there's certain things that people won't really remember that I obviously remember because I just read the book. So I don't know, if you've read the book a while ago, tell me in the comments how you feel about the film, because I think that's a me thing that just read it. Obviously I'm gonna criticize it way more, but at the end of the day, I loved it. I loved, like, the vibe of the film is exactly the vibe that I got from the book. The characters, the actors were amazing. They had a lot of chemistry. The film looks exactly what I would imagine like a rom-com to look like. I love like I love that in the book, but I also love that in the film. The traveling aspect, I love that. And it's something that the book tackles way more than the film, but I love that it's not just about the relationship, it's about Poppy as a person, and like her struggles and evolving and realizing what she wants, like growing up. And I love that. I loved that the book gets way more into that, but I love that they are so relatable. And yeah, the music, obviously, like, Swifties will love this. I'm not a Swiftie, but I love the soundtrack, nonetheless. It fits perfectly. And yeah, as I predicted, this film just made me love Tom Blythe even more, and I can't wait to see like his upcoming films. He has at least two that I'm really looking forward to. One will probably be my most anticipated, which is coming next. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say without getting into spoilers. So let's get into my scores. So overall, I'm gonna give the film a 4 out of 5. It might be a bit too generous, having in mind that they did change a few things and that it's a rom-com. It doesn't really get too serious. But I loved the characters, and the characters are exactly the same as, like, they are exactly the same in the film as they are in the book. And I love the actors, so I am a little bit biased, but part of me I just couldn't give it less than 4 out of 5. Cinematography, I think I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5 because it looks exactly what I was expecting and what a rom-com should look like, I guess. And originality, I'm gonna give it a 3. I don't think it's super original, like a Friends to Lovers thing. It's not super original. I think the book is way more original in that regard because of the struggles that they have. They're not that visible in the film. But there's just something about them that, I don't know, maybe it's just, if you've read the book, maybe you get a lot more out of the film. But I actually think that maybe you should read the book after watching the film, because I kept like comparing and just thinking, whoa, so this thing they changed, this thing is not happening, oh, so this thing doesn't happen in the book. So maybe you should read the book after watching the film. So guys, these are my thoughts on People We Meet on Vacation. As I said, I loved it. If you like rom-coms, if you loved the book, if you like Tom Blythe, if you like Emily Bader because she's amazing, you should definitely check out the film. It's a light-hearted one, but it's also like touching, and I cried watching the film. I almost cried reading the book as well because I just love their dynamic, and seeing it portrayed in a film was so beautiful. So yeah, I totally recommend it. I know it might be a little bit biased, but I honestly think a lot of people, or at least people that like this genre of books and films, will like the film. And yeah, if you've read the book before watching the film, tell me how you feel about it. if you only watch the film and you didn't read the book, tell me if you are like curious and want to read the book, and if you want me to like compare the two more in depth, like get into spoilers, also tell me in the comments. And if you only read the book, tell me if you are excited and if you want to watch the film. And yeah, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!